Hello, welcome to the Isuzu Ute A-League Download, episode 23. Thomas Sorensen, Archie Thompson here. We've had an international break, and none of us were selected for our country, so we've had a time to recuperate and rest, and so I predict this programme may be our greatest. Archie, welcome.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Welcome, Thomas.
Yeah, we're rested, and again, we're back with a bang. Right? I don't know if the A-League players had too much time off, or if they trained too much, because we saw God knows how many goals this week.
Is that because you know the attackers were good or the defenders were bad? What does that mean?
It's a bit of both. Actually, you think?
Yeah, no, there was a bit of everything. I think. Yeah, good goals, maybe some bad defending, but yeah, we love when there's lots of goals.
Oh yeah, and that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, you don't want too many. Like you need to have your 0-0s for your 5-3s to stand out.
Yeah.
The reason that football is the greatest game is because a goal is hard to score. Apart from, of course, in Melbourne victory, Adelaide United, in which case they were very easy to score. Let's start with that, shall we? 5-3 to Melbourne victory. And like a nice way round, you know, because Adelaide took the lead, then Melbourne victory went in front, then Adelaide got the lead again, and then victory win it again. I find it very hard to analyse a game that has this many goals, Archie, so I'd like you to do it for me.
Well, I mean, it is a hard one because I think when it comes to the original rivalry, which is the Melbourne victory Adelaide game, there's always back and forth, that game in particular, and the importance of it, because now everyone's really fighting for that number 2 spot that we keep talking
so
about.
Tight.
It's
really
anyone,
bunched up in it.
Anyone can have it, and you know, you'd almost feel that Auckland are probably really got one hand firm on that trophy, but that game had everything. We had returning Socceroos that wondered if they were going to be a little bit tired, but man, they were on fire. Nishan Velupillay has had an incredible month of football, and then Azani, I wondered if him being in that Socceroo camp gave him a little bit of a spark, because he was someone that was looking to go forward. He was defending great, scored himself a goal. And Adelaide, man, they didn't seem to want to give it away. I mean, incredible. And then that penalty. Did he touch the ball or didn't he? Which the momentum really changed after that.
Yeah, I mean, where do we start? Let's talk about, so Johnny Yule scores a brilliant goal.
Yeah.
Adelaide.
What a goal.
And
Yeah.
his first ever goal.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well done, Johnny. Yeah. Azani, I was really surprised to see that was just his second of the season. Because when you watch him, you think, God, this guy's got the natural balance, he's got the skill, and he's out of contract at the end of the season. We know there's churn here. But like on his day, like I watched that and thought, that's classic Azani.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I played with him when I came to Melbourne City, and he had, he always had the moments in him, and it's been the consistency all the way through that's been lacking. But I think, you know, when he's on form, like he's coming into it now, and he has been brilliant. You know, there has been question marks about him missing too many chances, maybe not getting that end product, and I think we saw in this game. You know, I'll question Ryan Kiddo's defending. I thought he showed him. You know, he should have shown him to the byline. He already had his body open. And Asani, that's what he does well. That 1-2 and that acceleration, you just can't defend it. And a great finish. And I thought, you know, those front three with Machas as well, you know, that pass into Velupillay, they were all involved. Velupillay, obviously, you touched on it, was immense in more or less all the goals. But you know, can you get Azani into that top form? You know, victory, they're a goal machine, you know, and that's going to be their strength, because they still concede. You know, they're not great at the back, and it's still up and down a little bit. But yeah, you know, with those three firing,
6 and 18 for Velupillay.
Yeah.
You say he's had a great few weeks.
Yeah,
hasn't he? And he's some player.
Oh, he's incredible. Someone asked me actually, is he a confidence player? And I actually thought...
Isn't everybody?
Yeah, no, I think there's confidence and then there's belief in yourself,
right,
which you believe in yourself.
Okay.
And I think with Nishan Velupillay, we all know his talent. I think he started to maybe think, wow, I've got something about me because I'm making a Socceroo team. And then, all of a sudden, he's playing fantastic. And I think he's actually now starting to believe in his own ability. And he's scoring goals. He's scoring goals for the national team. He's scoring goals for Melbourne victory. I don't think we'll see him on the shore on Australian shores for too much longer because he just gives so much going forward. But he's actually believing in himself, and you can see it out on the football pitch. I mean, some of the runs that he makes, he's silky on the ball, and he's starting to score goals. That's, I think, one thing that I was always sort of questioning about him. But now he's putting goals to it. He's really an excitement machine.
He believes in him, and you believe in him.
We all believe in him.
We all
believe in you, baby. We believe in you.
Right, Archie Goodwin equalises. Adelaide get one of those handball penalties. I hate it. I know people say it's a penalty, and your hands in an unnatural position. Well, just stop it. And then we have this controversial one where I've written good VAR for that victory penalty. I was like, because I don't like VAR, I've come full circle. I'd get rid of it, but fair enough. Sometimes I think it's good. And you were saying, but kept watching the angles. They kept showing them until there was one where you went, actually, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, no, there was 3 or 4 angles of the same situation, and 3 of them you say, no, definitely. He doesn't touch Kikiani, he doesn't touch Asani, or doesn't touch the ball. And then there's one ankle where you can see, but we're talking sort of Snicko territory where potentially
Mariah Erasmus to go just rock and roll.
And then you the funny thing is you see then the interviews after, and Carl Verde is there. We got robbed, and it's a clear touch, and they're like, it wasn't. And I quite agree when there's not really anything convincing to all. I think it should be overturned, and it did, and it was a penalty in my view. Because it's such small margins that
Sorry, you think it was a penalty or it wasn't a penalty?
Yeah, no, because obviously he didn't give it initially. He said there was a touch, and I think when you see all the angles, there's not enough to actually say yes, there was a touch.
Right.
So I feel
clear and obvious. Is what you're saying.
There's a hint of it, but it's not clear. So I agree with the referee, giving the penalty.
So you do agree with him?
I agree with it. I do. Yes. I don't agree with his initial.
Confused. Right.
But the VAR decision, I think.
I'm with you.
We don't have, it's so tight.
It's my fault. I've got an 8-week-old baby. I need to sleep. Then enter Nikos Vergos. And actually, he does really well. Scores 2 off the bench. But we talked about Velupile. His quick feet for that fourth and the weight of the pass to Josh Rawlins, isn't it, is perfect.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that sort of stuff, you just can't defend against. And even if we're going to touch about Douglas Costa, and people being a bit afraid to go near him in a penalty box. But that's exactly the same as Nishan Velupile. When you've got that quick feet, you're almost too scared as a defender to kind of put your foot in, because if you don't get it right, 9 times out of 10, it really goes to penalty, and even if it doesn't get caught, it gets caught on VAR. But you're right, like that quick feet, and then to be able to see where that run was, weighted pass was perfect, and great impact from both of the substitutes. And Vergos, 2 goals. You could see that he was maybe didn't celebrate the first one, and the second one like, hey, I want to be in that starting 11. So there's got to be a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, it's a good competition between him and Fornaroli. They both offer something different, I think, and I think that's the exciting part. You have those 2 different options, and I thought that touch when for the 5th goal when it broke, and Velupile gets it at halfway line. It's so easy. The sort of the first touch he takes is absolutely perfect, and he can keep his stride. He keeps the momentum, and sometimes you see how many players that it goes too far, and you get caught on the ball. So he's just in that form where everything just goes for him.
Sydney FC 2, Melbourne City 3. Very hard to concentrate when they've had some. Did they have American football on that pitch or something? And
rugby.
Was it
rugby? Yeah.
Rugby. What is that? That's a ridiculous idea, isn't it? Why would you let them chase eggs around the hallowed turf? Really? What are they thinking? Anyway, it was just very hard. It was like, I can't concentrate because you put numbers on the pitch. I don't want that. But beyond that, another really exciting game.
Yeah, and again, I think it's we've been talking about Sydney, and I think again it sort of got exposed a little bit. They started sluggish. I thought that the first goal, Perkins, I thought got caught a little bit, but again, the young players have stepped up. It's good to see Caputo back. That's his third goal. He's only played, I think, 3 or 4 games.
The assist from Tilio is so nice. Right?
That's another. I think Andreas Kuhn and Tilio have really stepped it up, and I think Tilio as well took him some time, a little bit like Asani. They're really coming into it now at the right time of the season, and then you've got these young players, Mehmeti as well, who just pops up and scores goals, and I thought it was a big win for Melbourne City because they're coming into, and it's a tough game, Sydney. I remember my time there, we didn't get many wins in Sydney, so for them to go there with a young squad and getting the win, I think is fantastic.
Yeah,
and Douglas Sydney though in a precarious position. They go to Adelaide next week, and if they lose that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were sort of saying, look, the race for sort of 4th, 5th, 6th is really tight, but now Sydney lose that game, they are 3 points behind. Obviously, that can change in a weekend. Fine,
but they play Adelaide,
It's a massive game, isn't it? Because you're right, they lose that, then suddenly they are 6 or 5 points behind. And it looks like there's a tiny gap opening up. What we want is, 8 teams that can still get in the top 6. But that puts pressure on Sydney. Okay, they're trying to balance their Champions League, Asian Champions League adventure with this, and that's quite hard. That is tough, right? Because we've talked about the travel, haven't we?
Yeah, and well, you'd feel if they lose that game against Adelaide, it's gonna be difficult. And where do you focus? Does your focus still go? Okay, maybe the finals might be out of touch. Do we really focus on the Asian Champions League and trying to get through there? But like I said, I thought Melbourne City were really great. They really squeezed them nice and early, and Tilio was fantastic. You can see how much that Socceroo camp is.
Yeah.
And I love the way when he glides past players. He's a lot like Nishan Blueplay. Very, very similar players in the way that they attack players and quick feet. And but Douglas Costa, I mean, you almost feel like that if he's not on the pitch, Sydney don't have a chance because his delivery for the goal for Perkins, his own goal was just incredible.
Yeah, it wasn't an own goal; it was his own goal. Just to be clear,
did I say?
I sort of said his own goal, and that could confuse someone that didn't know that.
It's confusing me now.
His goal. But you're right with Costa, aren't you? Everyone knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
We're watching it. Well, I know he's going to do that, and that, but you just can't stop it.
Yeah, well, his delivery for the cross for Perkins was unbelievable, just impeachable, and his goal was great too.
Yeah. His goal. Yes. Can I ask a stupid question? Right?
There's no stupid questions.
Well, you wait. I once asked the UK foot golf champion. Where they have football in the golf. I once asked if he had a caddy, and that is a stupid question because your legs are on you. Just take your right leg out of the bag, mate. It's a good one. So there are stupid questions. No. So you look at Douglas Costa, right? Now at my level of football, okay, which is very impressive, but not this level. If one of you've got a couple of Galacticos, and if they're playing, you're just like, Quentin's playing. So I just give it to him. At this level, with someone like Douglas Costa, does it change how players around him play? In the sense they just go, we know he's great, so then you sort of ease off a bit, or you just give him the ball. So then when he's not there, you're like, we've got to do it ourselves now.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more the other team that will probably be thinking about like Douglas Costa and like what he can do.
Right.
Then his own teammates going, it'd be great to have Douglas on as a teammate. Am I answering that question?
No,
right?
but what I mean is, if he's in your team, do you just rely on him? So because he's so good, so like if you play with Messi, you just go, we just got to give it to Messi. It's fine.
Yeah. Of course, I think you definitely, learn to at least give them in certain areas, like because you saw that goal, like his quick feet and also the trigger, like he sort of just gets it out, and Patrick Beach's got no chance. So of course you try to find him in those areas, and you why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, of course, he's in your team.
Yes.
And thank you for understanding the question. It's really useful. No, someone here who did.
Let's not give it to Douglas because he's just going to mess it up.
That's the one. That's what I was after.
Lepane's the winner, right? It's one of those where it's a great strike, but it sort of looks like it's dribbled in. Like, I think it's harsh to criticise the keeper, but the way it looks, you're like, he's got 20 minutes. He could just walk over and pick it up.
Yeah, it's one of them. If I was the goalkeeper, it's maybe his initial positioning. I think he was, I don't know if he anticipated the shot, but But yeah, it's it's not one of them where it just flies past you. It sort of dribbles a little bit, and
he's probably looking at the numbers on the pitch going 30, 25, 20, 10. But
I think he's just a little bit out of position. He's a little bit more to maybe half a step to his left, and
if your weight's going one way,
I don't think it's weight. It's just that it just leaves you then the 3 or 4 centimeters that because you should, with that pace that it had, you should save it from that distance. But as a Melbourne City fan, I'm quite happy with it. I was happy with it.
Yeah. Leave that.
I love seeing them going to Sydney and win. So
leave that bit about the weight. I was trying to sound like I was a goalkeeping expert. Clearly, it's a dumb thing to say. Macarthur 3, Newcastle 3. 3-1 up with how long to go? And you were saying Newcastle
had my
the
big
run.
prediction. I'm like, Newcastle, you letting me down. Like, they were 3-1. I thought they were brilliant in the first half. Again, Eli Adams, the goals, but composure as well. The first one, he actually picks the ball up deep.
It's a lovely move.
And he lays it off, and he goes and he sort of indicates he wants the ball over the top. And also it's so hard when you run full pelt and then to still find a composed finish, and he did that. And then
I want to ask you about the keeper's position. Do you think that he could have came out a little bit more to?
Yeah, but I wouldn't blame him. I think actually it's a great finish. It's where it's like a semi chip, but still controlled. And then the second one I thought was absolutely brilliant. The way he picks it up and just calmly, like, he doesn't panic. He just finds the far corner. So they'll be killing themselves the way I think they defended. The way Harrison Sawyer, for the third goal where he equalised, the whole sequence of when the ball gets, they clear it, ball goes out.
No one really closes down.
Nobody. Harrison Sawyer just drifts to the back post. There's not one Newcastle player that actually picks him up, and surely that should be, I think Stanton came out after and said, there's just some things you can't defend. I'm like, really? Like nobody was even worried about him. So, and I didn't agree with him saying, there's just some things you can't control. I think in that situation, I would be very disappointed.
What you can control is building Australia.
But you're right, because even the goal from Tommy Uzcock, right?
Yeah.
The ball was played, but he was allowed to run.
Yeah, straight in.
It's a great header because he's
great,
a long way
header.
out.
No, but he's also,
he should be a defender should be blocking that run onto the...
Do you know what I wonder? But I wonder if Newcastle just thought, we could have let this go, because Yakelis has that chance, hits the bar, right? In injury time. And you think, okay, we've won this.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because you just sort of feel, okay, that was their chance. Because you think there, if you're Macarthur, you're like, that was our chance to equalise. To then go again and have another chance. Yeah. But you're right, they've chucked that. They've chucked it away.
And it's that classical. I've tried it many times where you have that 3-1 lead, and then you sort of get on the back foot a little bit, and they have that Harrison Sawyer weapon.
Yeah,
and you just know, I played a fair few times in England where you just know they've got that, that big guy that you can throw on, and it's hard.
And great for him, right? Signed from South Melbourne in the NPL, first 2 goals.
And he scored 16 for South Melbourne, and it's just been maybe the transition has been hard, and they've also struggled to maybe find the right spot for him, and fair play. This is what he's there for. His physicality and the headers were fantastic.
Yeah.
He found that space that Newcastle just didn't defend.
Yeah.
Wellington Phoenix 2, Western Sydney 2. What do you make of this one, Archie?
It was a better performance from Wellington. They kept them out for pretty much the whole 90 minutes. We thought they were going to get I think it's almost one of their first wins or second wins in
It's been a while.
It's been a long time, and the poor fans have waited for it. But it was definitely a better performance. It looked like, especially with the number of players that Wellington had out, especially in that defence, in the midfield, I felt like they didn't actually let Western Sydney, or as they've let a lot of teams, really just press, and then they tried to play out. They actually tried to play a little bit further up the pitch, which is better, and it looks better for them, and they create chances. Geraldez, I thought, was great. I think he's been a great acquisition for this for the club. He's very confident on the ball. Great finish for the second goal. But Western Sydney, they've showed this year that they're not a team that once they go down, that they're going to go down. Like they find a way, and Milanovic with a great finish. And I know what I kind of liked about Milanovic is one, and this is even to probably Segicic, is, you know, when they scored their goals and like, why didn't I get the call up to the Socceroos? I like that they've got the confidence and they're like, well, I should be there. But there's still a year to go to that final, you know, if they make it, they should make it for the World Cup. So you don't want to be kind of putting your manager on like... making him go, okay, well, I don't like it the way that he's acted in that sort of situation.
Right. I mean, also, nobody really phones anyone up like this, any. What you should really do is open your little AirPods box, put them in, and then that would be your, like, call me, or just like record a voice note, just a WhatsApp voice note.
That's probably why.
The next celebration.
Because he had the landline.
Popovic is like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
But Milanovic, unbelievable finish, great.
My question on this though is, how, look, it is a brilliant finish, but how, when you're 2-1 up that late, are they so open? Like, where are they? Where's they've all bombed on. Like, there's just nobody there.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be the question mark. You know, again, they, as you said, they were missing some big players in Wootton at the back, and then Rufer and I think Retre was out as well. You know, so that's some experience there. You know what? It's sometimes when it's makeshift and, you know, you try to win the game and you can sometimes get caught up. But I think, you know, Milanovic, you know, even for in the first half when he cuts inside, I think, you know, for Krev's goal, you know, he's just another player that's in great form and has that confidence. But can we just touch on one thing? What's with all this not celebrating against your old side? You know, like
Lockie Rose.
We saw, I'm like, for me, it's something like 5 years ago. Come on, just let's move on. Let's celebrate. You're not going to hurt anyone. Yeah. I think it's sort of. I'm tired of it.
There's a good one.
You know, it's not like you moved from River Plate to Boca Juniors. You're fearing for your family.
There's a good
come
one.
on, let's just celebrate. Come on,
man. There was
one
this season, was it Zinchenko or something scored for Arsenal, and then he didn't celebrate against some team that he was on loan at about 25 years ago. But Will Grigg, if you remember Will Grigg's on fire when he played for Northern Ireland in the Euros. And I can't remember who he was playing for, who he scored against.
He scored against,
something like that. But he scored against a former club, and he scores, and he goes, and he's right in front of the home end. And he just does like this. Yeah. They all applaud, and then he runs off going, actually, come on! Hey, no, it's a personal thing, right?
There's some players in the A-League that can't celebrate because they play for most of the team. Like, come on, right? It's just like I get that you don't want to run to the
Adebayor it. You don't.
You don't do that. Right? That's fair enough. But come on, you celebrate. You got some new fans that want to see you celebrate. Yeah. Just go.
Lockie Rose sort of didn't celebrate, but was really grinning about it. He was like, I'm not celebrating, but this is really good. I'm really pleased I did that.
Have some fun.
Yeah, but I think it probably depends on, it just depends on what your history at that club is and what it means to you. And if you're a youth team player somewhere or you support that team.
Lockie Rose was there for the youth. But Crave was only 2 years.
Yeah. But also,
maybe he doesn't get a free beer now in Sailor's Arms.
But I wonder if social media and the absolute, how sort of basically pathetic football fans can be sometimes, which is they can dish it out, but they absolutely can't take it. They'd be like, you can't, and it's like...
What did you say?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true, you can't.
I'm happy you just censored yourself there.
Yeah, no, I agree. You absolutely, like fans can't. They just they're just so, they can give pelters. Who was the guy who celebrated right in front of the away end this season? It was brilliant. Was it Klamala?
Oh yeah, no. That was the Western Sydney derby.
That wasn't
he jumped.
It wasn't a former club, I know that, but it was that was great to see a player.
Klimala jumped and he had the beers thrown at him.
Give it back to them. But I wonder if it's just come from that kind of culture of getting abuse from fans, social media. When you make a mistake, you have to apologise to everyone on social media. Every time we do this show, we then have to apologise all week to the fans of the A-League. And I just wonder if it's sort of because it feels like this happens much more often now than. 20, 30 years ago.
Okay, so, maybe social media, but
I don't know.
I'm sure it'll be okay. Let's celebrate.
Yeah, let's celebrate. Then we're going to, when you celebrate, we should have started disco right there, Rolls Royce car wash, and we had ticker tape, and we all just danced for the next 20 minutes. Auckland, look, as you said earlier, they got one hand on the plate. 2-0 win at Brisbane. And look, Brisbane had some chances, and it just sort of feels like this was another Auckland. They just turn up, they do a job, they can soak up some pressure, score some goals, go home, win, end.
Yeah, they're men.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
I remember their men.
Yeah, they're men. They're strong men. Even when they play bad, and it was humid. It was probably tough conditions for them, but they just find a way to win. I mean, I've said this about victory throughout this season, is that even when you're not playing well, you still champion teams always find a way to win. And Auckland are looking like that team because they can play ugly and still get results. And again, it was good to see Dan Hall back. I think that was his first start since his injury. That's the first time since his injury that they've had that back four and they get a clean sheet, because they haven't had a clean sheet in the last 4 or 5. And so that you can see that he's coming back at the right time. But yeah, they just find a way. Pinnaker and Sakai. I mean, even if the forwards aren't scoring, they just seem to find goals.
And again, I think it was Pinnaker's 4th and Sakai's 3rd. So they're getting a big input. And again, they score from that second ball. It was sort of, Brisbane, you're so much on top, and I thought Alex Paulson, he earned that clean sheet. That's fair play. I think it's his 10th, so he's definitely leading that charge. And it's that second ball out, and they don't pick up. Brisbane sort of switch off a little bit, and Pinnaker.
Great cross.
It's a great cross and great header, but that's what you gotta do against Auckland. You got to switch on all the time, and they, again, score on a great run. Like it's Sakai. I don't know where he gets that energy from. And especially as you said, up in that heat and the humidity, and it's sort of late in the game, and he bombs on and gets on the end of it. Fair play, and then that sealed the game.
Yeah, and there was a moment too, like even when he did score, and then because it went to VAR, and he kind of went like, yes. Yeah. Then even I think it was Dan Hall was like, switch on, God, switch on. It's
nothing silly next 5.
86 minute, 2-0 up. Their mindset is like, let's focus. And there was even a challenge that he made. One of the young players came in and he'd make this last-ditch tackle. Even there was about the 90th minute, and you can see everyone getting around him.
They're all on clean sheet bonuses.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. But the mentality.
It used to be the case when you were on clean sheet bonus. Last 5, come on.
But the mentality is great.
Can I ask what your bonus was in cash terms? No, I'm not asking that. My question is about Auckland, which is, if you win the league comfortably, which they probably will, right? Yeah. If their form continues, but you don't win the whole thing, how do you judge that season?
Yeah, it's a hard one because it's happened. Like it's happened that teams have won and won comfortably, and then lose the grand final, and all of a sudden, what teams that won the grand final are the champions, and that's all you talk about. I think it was Melbourne City that had an incredible year, and then Central Coast beat them 6-1, and it's like, forget what.
I think in any case, I think for Auckland, it's a successful first season. Yeah, obviously, so that's a gimme. But it's always a weird thing where you feel like we were the best team all year, and then, as I said, like I was at that Melbourne City, and it was the most deflating thing for an embarrassing, and you sort of feel like the whole season is
a waste of time.
Yeah, and fans, everyone will remember it as wow, that was a horrible situation. But so we'll see. As I said, I think Dan Hall coming back. They've just seems to have a squad that can sort of complement, and you got you can swap a few players that that can sort of freshen it up a little bit, because they it's totally, as you said, when you hit finals, it's all a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Jack Hinga, who plays for Sri Lanka, equalled Matt Mackay's record, most matches in all comps for Raw. Yeah. He's played 303 games, still without a win. No, I'm kidding. But that is
wow. I think we need to apologise to Hinga.
No, but what a great! I'm kidding. What a brilliant, those servants to football clubs, especially in a league where there's so much churn, right, where so many players are going to dedicate like a huge part, not just of your career, but like of your life to a football team is absolutely huge.
No, I think it's a big part of football. There's disloyalty, but there's also loyalty, and as much as fans are always there and they're never going to jump ship, but players, I think it's just great stories, and as I said, it's great commitment, and Brisbane, they have gone through some difficult times financially and everything else, and for him to play that amount of games, I think it's, I've got respect for that, for sure.
And even Luke Bratton had 300 appearances in the A-League, which is some really serious numbers, especially when you think how short the league is. But I think Jack Hingett's been an unbelievable servant for that Brisbane side.
I feel bad now for that joke.
Don't worry.
Cut it out?
No,
it was like a good joke. That was funny.
Leave it in. We'll
you know
just,
what? I think we saved you.
I think we did.
Think Jack will forgive me? Think Jack will forgive me?
Yeah.
I think so.
There might be some social media hate coming. Fine. But, you like
I don't know if he might be...
Just when you see him, just like...
I just don't know. I don't know. He might have a great sense of humour. He might be completely humorless. We just don't know.
No.
He'll let it go, mate.
He'll let it go? Maybe I should stop going on about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Central Coast 3, Perth Glory 1. I did like Alfie McCalmont, sort of putting the strings in there. Like, I like these, makes me want to be short sometimes. Think that about Bernardo Silva, just little guys who've got a nice low centre of gravity, sort of pull the strings. I thought he had an impressive game, I thought.
Yeah, and he's probably, there was this patch where he was injured for a period of time, and he's probably their playmaker in the middle of that park. And probably this season he was coming to terms with being in a new league, understanding the football and the competition. I don't know how long he signed there at Central Coast for, but maybe his second year will be better. But yeah, he when he does get on the ball,
just makes it tick.
Yeah, he always looks to go forward. That delivery I think he gave for Qual was a peach of a ball. So yeah, look, for Central Coast, they can't really do anything this season. So I think it's maybe about those players that are coming out of contracts and putting in good performances, really.
Yeah, again, I think, Central Coast needed that. I think that win, and again, for Perth, it's a similar story. I thought they played pretty well. They were dominant. They had some chances, but just again a little bit like Brisbane.
The foul for the penalty, is it Jalen?
And
it's the most Stonewall penalty you've ever seen, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's sort of running and just like, no, don't jump in.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. And even when he jumped in, it was like, oh my. It's just that inexperience. And it was at that time that they obviously won one. They're back in the game, and you just don't want to give anything away. And, for all the praise that we've given Pearman, I think that is a learning moment for him, just to, maybe just think before you act sometimes.
I'm still trying to learn that.
Oh, okay, actually.
Yeah. That's right, Jalen. Give it 25 years and you still won't have learned. It's all right. Lovely finish from Tia Harris there. It's just a peach of a strike.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and there wasn't much of and it looked like there wasn't any effort in it too, but he hit it unbelievable because the ball, you talked about it when someone hits
the
that
ball stays ball.
The ball stays ball. That was a ball stay ball moment.
You're learning.
Yes, I'm learning. See, good. You can.
Yeah.
See,
this is development of a human being. We're watching it.
But he's been good.
Unfold over the season. Yeah.
He's been one of the over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think he's been really, really good.
Yeah, and what a hit it was. I mean. There was not much that keeper could do.
No,
that one.
No.
I just can't believe how much power he generated from really not getting any kind of run up to it. But
it's like perfectly hitting a 5-iron.
Yeah,
you'll do it once in your life.
Yeah, 5-irons. It's
I'm
really hard.
I'm still waiting for
the 5-iron.
I think the 5 and the 6 are.
You think are tough clubs?
Probably even the 7 a little bit.
You ever tried a 1-iron? What's the point of that? That is like a lump of metal. No one's
Yeah.
ever hit a 1-iron. Absolutely silly club. Did Tiger have a 1-iron? I mean, he was probably he was probably quite good at it though. He practiced a lot. To be fair, the lad.
Yeah.
Well done on a great career.
It's still going though, right? He's had surgery.
Yeah, no, you're right. Fair play to him for getting back out there. Let's talk about the Golden Boot race.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Noah Botic on 11. When you got Goodwin and Milanovic on 10. Ibasuki, Lolly, Segatic on 9. And then Barbarouses, Klimala, Guillermo May on 8 and loads on 7. So What do you reckon? Archie, you scored goals for fun.
Yeah, not really. I wasn't probably prolific like some of these guys are. But
Don't put yourself
no,
down.
Come on, Archie.
yeah, well, I
How
think I
many
only
goals
got.
did you score in your career?
Well, with Melbourne Victory, it was 90.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You were just
but-
giving like Velupile that big spray of you got to believe in yourself. You got to, you got to.
Oh, my time's
But, like,
done.
Archie, you were brilliant.
My time's
let's-
basically
let's-
dead.
Let's not beat around the bush. Like,
Well,
you were
You don't know
a
how many
goal
you
scoring
scored.
machine. Come on, man.
With Victory, it was
90.
90, yes.
Okay. And then
So
add on the rest.
from A-League, I guess, stats, so I wasn't probably
Pretty decent.
prolific.
Pretty
Yeah.
decent.
But I kind of, I think my whole involvement, I don't want to talk about myself. It's like, so I think the players that, if I had to probably pick, it would probably be Botic. I mean, he's one goal ahead. But with this coming towards the end of the season, like it's hard to really pick because someone can get 2 or 3 and then all of a sudden, but this is the closest I've ever seen a Golden Boot run. Usually it was Jamie McLaren. It was always streaks ahead. It was either Bessart Berisha that was killing it. So, I would have to say probably Botic.
Yeah, no, I think it's just great that it's 3 young players that are leading, and
Yeah.
have sort of come through. Botic, has obviously risen to it. And the other 2 have really also stepped up. It's a good win. Has obviously taken that jump from Newcastle to Adelaide, and there was questions about his injuries. But again, this week you see he's just a goal scorer. He always pops up in the right places. With head and feet can just get those goals that you need as a team. You need the box goals and so I think they're all sort of different in their way. And who knows? Like again, it could be some of the ones behind them that got a.
It's like a golf leaderboard, isn't it? We're just
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on today.
it's kind of like.
Continue
But
that.
again, I think Botic.
Botic's the clubhouse leader, but
he would probably be my favourite as well because he's in that form.
Yeah,
So.
and he's right, like he's a 9, so he's probably going to get a lot more opportunities. But you can't take away the fact that Milanovic, he's a midfielder and a wide player, and he scored 10 goals. I think that's a great.
Who's your favourite of all those? Who do you think is the best of those?
Well, the goals that I really like from the ones that are scored, I think Segicic's goals have always been really good this season, and he's on 9. So I think there's been a lot of goals that he's scored have been
I don't
incredible.
care. It's not how he score. It's similar as the playoff picture or the finals picture. There's not that run away. We saw, as you said, you mentioned a couple. Bruno Ferraroli was a couple of years where he was like 10 goals ahead of the number 2. You know what? Let them fight it out. Let them get in there. And we've got 4 or 5 games left. It's anyone's.
What are the games next week? That'll be a good, won't it?
Oh,
Brisbane,
yes.
Macarthur, Auckland play Western Sydney. It's an interesting game. Melbourne City, Central Coast, Western United, Perth Glory, Adelaide Sydney.
That's
the
the
big one.
That's the game.
That is the game.
And the
That's
Jets versus Wellington Phoenix. Make sure you watch Total A-Leagues with Vince Rugari and Tommy Orr on Wednesday. Nick Stoll and Daniel Trojewski. They look like they're having too much fun. I saw the clips. They really
I didn't
enjoying
like the one where they brought
they showed your picture from FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't look anything like
No,
that.
it didn't look like
And
that.
I think even Georgieski said I had a fat neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a fat neck?
Right, okay.
I don't think my neck.
I think there's some.
Do you have a fat neck? It's hard, isn't it? Because when you look,
Should we
neck.
start
You're a
some
fan.
beef between these shows? Just
Yeah.
I don't. We don't need to force it.
Nah.
The danger is you force it. It's just got to be natural.
Yeah.
And also, don't take on Stoll because he's a wild man.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right.
He will go at anyone. He doesn't care.
Oh, them two, they're loose cannons.
He is wild. That
Okay.
guy. Yeah. Watch out for him. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Archie. We'll see you next week.